Levels good. Let me get the chat situated. Welcome into the Rant. I'm Pugs Moran. We do it every day here from the beautiful Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the E Gallery in Dallas's fantastic design district. I talk current events every day. It's all the things that are happening in the world, the hot topics, the headlines, the trends, whatever it is they're screaming about on TV, whatever it is, leading your what? How do we do it? I almost just said newsstands, but there aren't even. When was the last time you saw a newsstand? Is that a thing in big cities anymore? I don't know that newsstands were ever really a thing here in Dallas, but I guess what is the modern newsstand? You're walking out of the 7-Eleven and you glance down at that little thing of sad paper stacks that sit there by the door as you exit. Is that what it is? I don't know. Wherever you get your news, I'm going to cover it for you. I do the show in 4 quarters. We break it down into 4 segments. The first one we call Antecedently on This Day. That's where I look back at the events that have helped shape our understanding of this day. Events that have happened on this day. Quarter 2 is birthdays. It's celebrity birthdays or notable quotables or important historical figures. We decide, are they cool or do they suck? That's really it. That's all we do with the birthday segment. Are they cool or is Ben Franklin cool or did he suck? And we have that conversation. Quarter 3 is deads. These are people who died on this day. Essentially, we like to overturn every rock that they've left in their life's path and decide whether or not they're a piece of shit who should go to heaven or hell, I should say. Oh, I guess it depends on your perspective. Or a good person who ascends to heaven. That's right, heaven or hell is quarter 3. So that's really just to lay a foundation of what this day has been. Then we get into quarter 4. This is the bulk of the show. Most of the show is quarter 4. Quarter 4 is all the hot topics, headlines, and current events. I perform the show for you in what's known as a stream of consciousness. What that is I just start talking and I don't stop. I jump from one topic to the next. Not a whole lot of space in between. Sometimes we devolve into what's known in the radio business as rabbit chasing, where I'll start talking about something and then I'll go, oh, but you know what else is interesting? And then before you know it, we're talking about your favorite flavor at Baskin-Robbins. At that point, we have to back the truck up. Beep, 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 beep. And we have to get back into the topics. But that happens from time to time. What else? What else do I need to tell you about how we do this show? We've been doing it every day for 3 years. Every day for 3 years, performing a type of talk radio that you can't find anywhere else. They don't allow this on the big radio terrestrial. It's not even big radio. That's the thing. We talk about the difference between what we're doing here, digital media with RadioMisfits.com, Radio Misfits Dallas, live from the E Gallery. We talk about that digital media. And here in Dallas, for instance, you can get all kinds of top flight, incredible digital media. You got Mike Reiner doing the Dark Companion. You got the Hang Zone now doing the Dumb Zone, the Hang Zone from the Ticket. And they are just, woo! Not to mention DLLS, a new full-time sports personality, Dallas-based thing. So things are good. Things are really good in the podcast and in the digital world. Not here. We suck. We are the little engine that could, and we are trying. The attempt here with Radio Misfits Dallas is to bring together a number of little engines that could. Unfortunately, we're being slow with that, and that's on me. That's me. Everybody who knows me knows that. But it is my belief that a collection of people with mediocre talent can one day at least take the table scraps from the other ventures that are big talent. No, I'm kidding. That is not what Radio Misfits is. So you got digital media making inroads into big radio, terrestrial radio out there walking around like they still call the shots. To be honest with you, the only reason that I would take a job in terrestrial radio right now is for the health benefits. Yeah, be a lot better off if, I would take a job doing traffic, on the K-Love station if it meant I could get full-time health benefits in Texas. But we do this instead. So I want to catch you up on what I'm talking about here is the battle between digital and terrestrial and how it is really starting to work my last nerve. That terrestrial radio still thinks They still think that they've got more than like a year or two left in the tank before it's just like nothing but 80-year-olds listening to old-timey radio. They've absolutely made zero attempts. Some have. I'll tell you one station that really has. My favorite sports station in America, The Score. The Score being led by a dude named Mitch Rosen. That dude's like the best programmer of sports in the country. That dude has been cutting edge digitally and slugging it out with all of these Johnny-come-lately digital entities, whether they are Barstool has Barstool Chicago, which is very popular, or CHGO, which is the Chicago equivalent of DWLS, not 24/7, but a full-time sports personality, local-based sports thing, like a sports radio station. He's been doing it, but the Score in Chicago, they do the YouTube streaming, they do the viral clips. They're very, very involved. They're very cutting edge. And there are some that are also, spread out. But for the most part, like the Ticket, man, God love those people. But why isn't there a 24/7 or whatever day-long Ticket stream on YouTube? Why don't the Hardline, why can't the Hardline be something that when I go to bed at night and I go to YouTube and I want to listen to something to fall asleep, why can't I go and find a YouTube channel that has a camera, multiple cameras in the studio with Corby and all those guys? Why isn't Cumulus doing that? Because so many of big-time radio are just walking around milking that format for every last penny it can get. They know the people at the top, the people in New York in the boardrooms, they know it's dead. They know they were late to the party. They know there is no way that they can catch up with some of these other digital entities. ESPN even knows it. ESPN knows that they're dead in the water, that there are just other things that are cooler. Hell, they broke the piggy bank trying to getting Pat McAfee because they're like, yeah, those other people are doing it way better. Traditional media, traditionally distributed media. This is the distinction that needs to be made. Traditionally distributed media, meaning media that we got while we were growing up in the car because we got an antenna that got a signal that's flying around and we caught it and we can hear it in the car. TV, over the air, or cable and digitally satellite delivered. That's all like archaic, old-timey stuff now when everything is instantaneous, everything is live, everything can be streamed, everything can be digitally delivered to everybody instantaneously. And here's the thing, delivered to them instantaneously wherever the fuck they are. You know why? Because of these fucking things. These are how we get all of that. And these are in our pockets everywhere we go. No more having to sit in a car because your favorite DJ is saying something really funny and you're going to be late for work today. That was always the great compliment of talk radio back in the day. Hey, you got to make them late to work, man. Hey, you got to make them sit in the car. You got to be so compelling at every minute that they're sitting in the car and they are late to work, man. Fuck that. Nobody's late for work. You know why? Earbuds and this motherfucker. And you walk right in and you don't miss a goddamn thing. Those are the kinds of things that big radio has completely lost sight of. And they should have been drilling down on 10 years ago. 15 years ago, I was screaming about it in this market. I mean, look at all the shit I've been involved in this market over the years. We go all the way back to Deep Ellum on Air. I mean, there were opportunities for me to do other things in terrestrial radio and other markets. It's not like I was a no-name. But I knew that was the future. Deep Ellum on Air. That didn't really, there was no backing for it. There was nobody was like, that'll never work. You kids play it in your garage. And now Barstool is a multi-million, hundreds and millions of dollars there. DWLS, man. That's why I love that, man. They got the backing, but they're doing it right. Anyway. Can you tell I'm still all caught up in the war going on in Chicago between Dan Bernstein, the iconic longtime sports talker, and Chicago Barstool, which is the digital stuff. Now, I'm torn on this one because I like Bernstein, but I also know that he was wrong. And I also hate Dave Portnoy, but I love Barstool Chicago. So you see, I'm very complicated. I'm very conflicted with this whole thing. Anyway, I've been thinking a lot lately about this whole battle that we have going on between digital, what we're doing, and terrestrial. and how it's just at every turn we are winning. Barstool is destroying Dan Bernstein because Dan Bernstein, who is a terrestrial guy who talks to people stuck in traffic, lost sight of the fact that it's not 1999 anymore. And he talks shit on somebody with 10 times the listeners who aren't just, talking to people stuck in traffic. And he's paying the price, man. He's paying the price. He's getting hammered. He is getting destroyed. And I would like to say, if I was king of the world and I was emperor of the world, I'd say, okay, he deserved it. Enough is enough. But man, and that's the difference between terrestrial and digital. Remember growing up how powerful your shit-talking local DJ was? Remember how I was like, yeah, man, don't nobody say nothing about me because I got this blowtorch that I talk to people stuck in traffic every morning and they'll all hear it. That guy has no power anymore. That guy has no power to a dude with 3 million followers on YouTube. If that motherfucker on YouTube turns his sights on, Shock Jock McShock Jock, that fucking guy is done. And we've seen it. We've seen it indirectly with the canceling of these traditional broadcasters because they say something, they get comfortable, and they say something because I'm untouchable. I make $2 million a year, and I'm on whatever. Houston sports leader. You can't touch me. And then they go away. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. It's all over. Why? Because those digital fucks, they got together. They're just more powerful than you. So that is the stated goal of Radio Misfits Dallas. We want to come together, create an army. Problem is that, we're just choosing a bunch of people. We got an army of what? We got 21 in the chat room, maybe 100 listening. It's not a good army. So share the show and grow the show and all of that good stuff. All right. Also, the other point on this, we've been doing the show, as I say, for 3 years. Current events talk. This is the small talk segment. We've been doing this show for 3 years now. The show runs on your gratuities and your tips. That's how it runs. That's the only money that I make. And let me tell you, I am not a wealthy man, but I do it out of love, a love for you. Every day that I dedicate these hours to this show, it is me pouring my heart out to you. Stream of conscious now, revealing my every emotion, my every instantaneous reaction to the news of the day as we discuss it. That's what I do for you. We like to reward the big tipper of the day on this show every day with the title of executive producer. Now, we're coming off 2 days of Peter the Great being the executive producer of that show. If you want to be the executive producer, all you have to do is be the person who tips the biggest on the previous show. I was complaining about how Peter the Great is our guy. Peter the Great did it twice, but we cannot allow him to be executive producer 3 days in a row. And guess what? He's not. Because nobody is. So that's where we stand today. Nobody. Anyway, enough on that. If you do want to change that and you do want to be tomorrow's executive producer, all you need to do is jump on the Cash App or the Pugs Cash. Drop something, man. I'm your bartender. You hanging out with me for a couple hours? I'm not serving you drinks, but I am serving you biased and, filtered information, but I'm doing it with a smile, a song and a dance. All right. Let me have my drinks. Look at what I got here. I got my Code Mix. They are not sponsors because, quite frankly, I don't know that this shit is legal, but it's very good. Too good to be legal. That's the slogan. Oh, my God. Code Mix. Too good to be legal. All right, Code Mix. This is for you, kids. Code Mix. Too good to be legal. Tastes like original Red Bull. If you like the way Red Bull tasted before they went all woke, then that's what this is. Cold Mix. I also have for hydration because I wouldn't want to wither away and become vapors in front of you. I can't open this. Oh, my God. Oh, I'm such an old man. This was formerly frozen. Maybe that's it. There we go. All right. Say hi to the chat room. Look at us. We got the Sports Bras. I consider the Sports Bras members of the Radio Misfits Dallas, although we haven't officially done that. That's coming. We'll talk, boys. We'll talk. I like them. I want to do shit talk in sports. I want to do big shit talk. I want to take shock radio and combine it with sports, but not do it in the way that Outkick does. Outkick had an opportunity to be a really interesting sport. And what did they do? They went fucking political. Oh, no, man. Go Tits. Go Tits and Bayer. Go Tits, Cars, Beer, and Sports. Don't go fucking MAGA, we hate tranny athlete. Don't fucking do that shit, man. Come on, do sports better the way terrestrial radio can't. That's what sports bras are kind of doing. Kind of like them. I kind of like them. Got something I want to do with them. We'll talk about that. Let's say hi to Peter. Peter the Great. He's a long time supporter of the show. Love Peter. Peter's a musician, plays songs. That's one of the great guilts that I carry around with me in life. I don't feel like I gave Peter's song the kind of due credit that deserves. He put a lot of work into it, and I was just, it's the tech. I wasn't as comfortable. I didn't know how to pull it up. It was just all right. So that's what we'll say about Peter. I see my girl April. I love April. April's a fantastic. April is executive producer even when she's not executive producer because she understands that isn't a job title but a lifestyle. Jeff B's here. My boy Jeff Ballard is here. We're gonna go all the way back to the beginning so I can see my first people. Cam and Taronda. Look at them. I love them. I don't know if they're a thing, and they're not. But in my mind, they're a thing. They're like, I like, because I always see them like first, and I'm like, oh. Byron's here. What up, B? How you doing, man? Adam is here. Adam says, I'm here and leaving to Chicago in a week. I need my recommendations stats. Okay. All right. Well, you know what? Hey, Adam, let's do that you want to do that as a video? I'll just send you a link and you and I will make a video and I will answer your questions about Chicago. We'll pull up maps and all that. That might be fun. Look at me. I want to do services for our listeners, especially the ones who I know and love all these years. Let me know. Send me a text. Or whatever, if you want to do that. I don't know when you can, but that'll be fun. Peter says, I will update the song and send you a clean, polished, produced version. No need for guilt. Nah, it's not just you, man. It's over the years, so many people have contributed incredibly creative and good things to the show. And I know as somebody who has done that myself, I mean, when I was a teenager, I was writing parody songs and stuff like that and sending it to radio stations. That's kind of what we all did. And I understand how fucking that is when you're in that moment and you're like, oh man, I kind of like this. Oh, but what if he doesn't like that? Oh, no. So I get that. And then to have the person, and in my case, who actually did like it, not really like, I don't feel like I conveyed that enough. Like, I don't feel I honored your effort for something that I do properly. How's that? And that's what I carry around. But we will get over it. All right, we got some fucking spam in the chat room. I love that. I love it. It means we're growing. It means that I know the hope is that somebody sees the show and goes, I would like to listen to that because it sounds interesting. That's the hope. I mean, and I know the reality of the spam is somebody went, hey, but at least it means that my signal or something, it reached somebody. Spam. I like it. All right, what do you say we get started with today's show? How do we do this? Well, that's a stupid question since I've been doing it forever. All right, let's open this up. Today's going to be a fun show. There's a lot of stuff that I want to talk about. There's a lot of stuff. Like some days I put the show together and I'm like, I'm going to have to fake that. All right, I'm going to have to get up a little. I'm going to have to drink an extra cup of coffee because this one isn't going to be good. Not today. Today's show's got a lot of stuff I want to get into. All right, as I told you, let's do the first part. It's 4 quarters. The first quarter of each and every show, we call that antecedently on this day. But first, I must tell you, it is the 12th day of September, the 256th day of the calendar year. There's 110 left until New Year's Eve, so get those New Year's Eve plans started. Antecedently on this day, let's do it. Antecedently on this day, 1943, during World War II, Benito Mussolini is rescued from a house arrest. I'm sorry, the sentence changed. Benito Mussolini is rescued from house arrest by German commando forces led by Otto Skorzeny. So this is a cool story from World War II. So here's what happened when the Allies, us, good guys, we call it good guys, when the good guys took Sicily and were threatening southern mainland Italy, the entire fascist regime of Mussolini went, completely crumbled. But did you know, and I don't know how this guy got away with it, I don't know how this guy stayed out of it, did you know that Mussolini wasn't even the boss of that country? Mussolini wasn't even the boss of Italy. He was a fascist dictator who was operating at the pleasure of a king. There was a king of Italy back then. And the king is sitting there and he's like, yeah. And as soon as the good guys invaded Sicily, the king went, hey, he's got to go. Like, what a pussy move is that, king? He's got to go. Yeah, the minute they stormed Sicily, the king of Italy was like, Mussolini's got to go. So he was placed under house arrest. And the king of Italy put a new guy in charge, and his job was to join the Allies, join the good guys. So they put Mussolini under house arrest. This fucking pissed Hitler off. Because Hitler was getting his ass kicked in southern Italy and Sicily, and he was on the run. North Africa, all of that stuff. So Hitler was pissed, and he took this as a personal insult. So he put together a secret operation to fly into Italy, attack the house with a special German commando unit, and get Mussolini back. And they did. They did it on this day. A special team of Nazis went deep inside Italy. I mean, if they weren't the losing side and the bad guys, it would make a really cool movie. It would. But we don't make movies about monsters having good days, so we never saw that movie. Anyway, we know how it ended up. He was flown to Vienna, and he stayed a night in a really nice hotel, and then he had to go to like the Eagle's Nest or whatever, where Hitler lived up in the mountains. And Mussolini goes up there and he's like, hey, thanks, dude. I appreciate you getting me out of there. That place is fucked. And Hitler went, yeah, I'm sending you back. We ain't done. And Mussolini's like, what? What do you mean you're sending me back? And Hitler's like, yeah, we still control like a northern part of Italy. So we're just going to call that Italy, and we're going to put you in charge. So they sent Mussolini back. And like within days, they were dragging him through the streets and hanging him in the town square. Isn't that fun? Isn't that a fun World War II story? The demise of Benito Mussolini. I love it. Hitler, you're going back. I just wanted to rescue you so I could show them that I could rescue you. But you're going back, you son of a bitch. You're going back and you're going to fight to the death. He and his mistress were dragged through the streets. On this day antecedently in the year 1943. On this day antecedently in the year 1959, Bonanza, the first television show in color, debuted on TV. Let me tell you, that fucking blew your grandpa's mind. Your grandpa saw that. He was like, what? What is that? Actually, your grandpa probably didn't see it. Like, my grandpa would not have had a color TV the day the first thing in color TV was ever played. Right? Bonanza's like, we're going in color. I mean, like 99% of the audience is probably watching that on black and white. And so maybe, but I don't know. Your grandpa was probably eventually thought color TV was cool. Actually, that's not true. My grandpa, I remember as a little kid, because there were black and white TVs. Remember when there were still black and white TVs? My grandpa would watch a black and white TV on top of a color TV because he said the color TV made it look funny. My grandpa also used a microwave for about 10 years as another cabinet. He just stuck things in there. It was unplugged. He just stuck things in. Why? Because Grandpa claimed that the microwave made food taste funny. On this day in 1959, Bonanza, the first color TV show, premiered on television. The first colored TV show wouldn't premiere for another 20 years. On this day antecedently in the year 1962, U.S. President John F. Kennedy delivers his "We Choose to Go to the Moon" speech at Rice University. We're going to play this. This is awesome. This is like one of my favorite. Okay, so growing up or as a young man, I always, it was a cool speech. We had a thing, some class in college where we had to go and we had to break down, different speeches. And this was one that I got to do because it's, my birthday. I was born on the day we landed on the moon. So I got this one, and I got Man in the Arena, which is an incredible speech. Teddy Roosevelt, Man in the Arena. But this is one of my favorite speeches. And today in 2024, I think it takes on, I think it's interesting to watch this speech. And here's why. We've drifted so far from what I believe the president of the United States should be. If you think the president of the United States is an emperor who's going to shut the border and fix the economy, and you're a fool. That is not, we have a bicameral government. We have an upper and a lower house. We have all of that stuff. That does the sausage making. President is a rudder. The president is a reflection of the overall view of the people in the moment. And for years, that man, that president, it was thought he needed to be aspirational. It was thought that he needed to be positive, optimistic about America, how great we are. And then everybody started doing it. Everybody, and then we started going, these are just bullshit, smiling, blow-dried, bullshit politicians, and that's what we got. So we've drifted into an era where politics are now cynical. Politics are almost, at least on the right, entirely fear-based. You got to get rid of them because they're the enemy. They're against America. They're evil. No, they're not. They're just other Americans, you fucking jerk. Here's what's going to happen. I'm telling you, we're going to be Venezuela in 3 years. Stop it. No, we're not. We're the United States. We're a fucking badass. We ain't going to be Venezuela in 2 years. I hate that shit. It was on this day that John F. Kennedy gave a speech that I thought was one of the coolest speeches. Now, we're not going to listen to the whole thing, but we listened to a little bit of this. This is the president of the United States. He's up there. He's got swagger. He feels emboldened by the fact that he knows he represents the greatest people in the greatest country that God ever built. And he's got hopes for the future. Kennedy wasn't a guy who thought we were perfect. Kennedy was a guy who knew we could do better. And the way he was able to present that, politically speaking, has not been done since. He was like, come on, you could do better. He was a terrific speechifier. Although I do have a couple of problems with this speech. I think that he loses his place, and I'll point it out I think he loses his place and just kind of ends it and moves on to another thought, but it's still fantastic. And it was on this day that John F. Kennedy gave this speech. This is the "We Choose to Go to the Moon" speech from Rice University right here in Texas, just down the road.
But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
Okay, that's a great line. Not because it's easy and we think we can figure it out. We're going because we don't know what the fuck we're doing, but that's what Americans do. That's what Americans have always done. We push the envelope of what we expect from humanity. That's our job. That's our goal. That's who America is, and that's who America always will be. And if you've lost sight of that, I feel sorry for you. If you've lost sight of that because some fuckstick in a goddamn suit on Fox News has convinced you that this country is 2 years away from being Venezuela, I feel sorry for you. But here is where he lost his place. I like when he goes, we choose to go to the moon in the next decade and the other things. Like, well, what? Excuse me, JFK. What other things?
The other things. Years ago, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win, and the others too.
And the others too. You lost your place, didn't you, dude? You're just riffing right now. I mean, it's working. Don't get me wrong, JFK. It's a great speech. It's a great speech. Great speech about who we as American really are, not who we pretend to be, not who we cosplay as, who we should be in our souls, in our minds, in our dreams, in our hearts. It was on this day, 1962. We choose to go to the moon. Antecedently on this day, the year 1984, Dwight Gooden sets baseball's record by strikeouts in a season by a rookie with 276. Yeah, okay, I don't know about all of that, but here's what I can tell you. I've seen a lot of baseball. Not this year. I've completely boycotted baseball this year. I don't want to get into it, but not this year. This has been a year without baseball. It could have been a year, but I'm still like bandwagoning with the Rangers, and they didn't really offer me any reason to start tuning in every night. So, Dwight Gooden might be the most disappointing baseball player to me in the history of baseball. And here's why. You know I'm a White Sox fan. I grew up in Chicago. I love the White Sox. I cannot stand the Cubs. The Chicago Cubs can, S a D. I hate them. And because of this, back in the 80s, their chief rival was the New York Mets, the rebuilding New York Mets. The Dwight Gooden, Darryl Strawberry, Keith Hernandez New York Mets. Those teams were awesome. So I became a big New York Mets fan. Why? Because the Cubs hated the Mets, and the Mets and the Cubs were always competing, and I loved it. So I was all in on the New York Mets. Dwight Gooden was amazing. If you're old enough to remember this kid when he came in his first couple of years, I'd never seen a pitcher like him before. He was just, and I've seen a lot of great pictures, right? I mean, I got to watch Greg Maddux in his prime play in my hometown. And yeah, I consider his last 2 seasons with the Cubs his real prime. I know he would go to Atlanta and win a whole bunch with that incredibly powerful left-handed rotation they had there. But he didn't have that with the Cubs. He was just a kid dealing. Greg Maddux, incredible. Pedro, I always say Pedro is like one of the most dominant pitchers I've ever seen. Nolan Ryan. My God, my feelings for Nolan Ryan. But I'll tell you, of all of those guys, the one guy who seemed to have the best junk and the best power and the best upside was Dwight Gooden, who on this day struck out 276 people in a single season, setting the rookie record. But he also liked the cocaine. He liked the cocaine, and there's a tremendous documentary. It's tremendous, man. On ESPN, I think it's a 30 for 30. It's called Doc and Darryl. And it's the story of Doc Gooden and Darryl Strawberry when they were teammates, and how those two were it'd be like, imagine having 2 Ohtanis. Actually, no, you know what I'll say? It was like this. It was like when the Angels had both Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. It was like the New York Mets had Dwight Gooden and Darryl Strawberry. And to me as a 12-year-old, I was like, well, that shouldn't be legal in baseball. They shouldn't allow both. Except they both like the drugs. They both like the drugs. The sniffies and the glug, glug, glug they did. They were, I can only imagine how good those New York Met teams would have been if Doc Gooden and Darryl Strawberry actually enjoyed playing baseball. They did. They were just good at it. They didn't enjoy it. They were just good at it. Dwight Gooden set the record on this day in 84, 276 strikeouts. On this day in 1994, Frank Eugene Corder fatally crashes a single-engine Cessna 150 into the White House South Lawn, striking the West Wing. All right, you remember this? So this is 1994. I kind of remember it. It wasn't a big deal because we didn't make everything huge deals back then. We didn't know about terror. We just thought this was a dude who got lost in a plane or whatever. I don't know. Frank Corder got dumped by his wife. He got dumped by his wife, and then I think he lost his job. And this is all in the course of like 2 weeks. And he was getting drunk at a bar, and he had some flying skills, although not some great flying skills. He lost his job, lost his wife, got drunk at a bar, drove to a small, tiny municipal airport, got in a Cessna, somehow got it off the ground, somehow figured out how to get to Washington, D.C., and his plan was to crash it into the West Wing of the White House. Now, it should also be noted, Frank Corder, all of his friends and all that stuff, had voted for Bill Clinton, and this wasn't political. He was like, no, you didn't have a problem with Clinton. It was totally not political. He just wanted to make it was to his ex-wife. He's like, I just wanted my ex-wife. So he was going to commit suicide to embarrass his ex-wife or whatever by crashing a stolen Cessna that he could barely fly into the White House. Well, he could barely fly it. So he was aiming for the White House, but he went boom into the South Lawn and a big hole there and fire and all that. It was on this day in 1994. Frank, man, here's what I don't say. Cool. I mean, totally cool. You lost your shit in a really fun way, but your intention was to kill innocent people who may have been in the White House. Oh, and by the way, he sold it on September 11th. This happened at like 1:30 in the morning at the White House. The plane was stolen on September 11th at 10 minutes to midnight. And then, so it's actually, so both, I skipped over this yesterday. It was listed in the historical events of yesterday too, but then I went, no, but it didn't crash until September 12th. So here we are. Frank Porter on this day in 1994 tried to fly a plane into the White House, but he couldn't fly a plane and he was drunk and heartbroken. Kind of sad. Antecedently on this day, in the year 2013, NASA confirms that its Voyager 1 probe has become the first man-made object to enter interstellar space. I don't know, maybe I've got a bigger view of the world. That's the most important thing that has probably happened since we landed on the moon. Humans, I mean, did you let that just roll off you? I know it's just a probe. Yeah, I'm telling you. It's an amazing human feat. We sent a probe outside of our solar system. We went interstellar with a probe. That doesn't impress you at all because you've 30 years of, well, I've seen Alien. I just saw Alien last week and I saw all the Star Wars. Our understanding of how difficult space travel is so fucked because of sci-fi and because of all of that. We choose to go to the moon and do the other things. Interstellar. We went interstellar on this day in 2013, and I promise you that no news media even mentioned it. However, like in 1,000 years when we're, I commute interstellarly, I commute every day. 1,000 years, this will be a big day. Hey, today was on this day in 2013, NASA sent the first probe interstellar. It'll be a big deal once we realize what a big deal it is, but we don't realize that now. We don't realize it. Well, didn't George Clooney go interstellar? That was a movie. All right, let's do birthdays. Quarter two, we're moving on to the birthdays. These are people who claim to have been born on this day. I have no way of knowing this is true. This is the published accounts. Born on this day in 1931, George Jones, American country singer, George Jones. George Jones was basically retarded with a gorgeous voice. I said it. I'll stand on it. They didn't know. George Jones had no education. He lived in a shack on a hillside until he was like, I don't know, when do they send you out to the world then? When you're raised in a shack on a hillside and you want to get out in the world, you probably, leave at 12? At 12 is when you move to the big city. Anyway, George Jones was such a fuck up. Oh my God. Alcoholic, drug addict, zero education, didn't know nothing. Signed his name with an X. Made really bad decisions constantly. What do you mean? I'm fine to drive. George Jones is a character. All of that can be said about him, and it's true, but also, what a voice. What a voice. You don't get to be an icon in a genre like country music of the extent that George Jones has achieved without having something incredible. George Jones. His voice. But basically, a borderline retarded guy who sings like an angel. That's what he is. That's what George Jones is. Is he dead? I think he might be dead. Yeah, he died. Yeah, of course he did. Died in 2013. Born on this day in 1951. We're going to do with that guy. We're going to do with that guy actor for this one. Born on this day in 1951. A guy who I got to know a little bit back in the 90s before he became like a really big star. He was just like he's not a really big star. He's a that guy actor. But he's done so much since then that you're like, oh. But I knew him when basically he was doing some CBS sitcom. I think it was Murphy Brown. I think he was doing Murphy Brown. And, he had done Risky Business and, some other things. He was a character actor that everybody recognized because he's very recognizable. He had a lot of friends in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Hey, he's a good guy. We're talking about happy birthday to the incredible character actor Joey Pantoliano, better known as Joey Pants. Joey Pants! Joey Pants is a dude that is, well, here, we'll show him to you. You know who he is. You may not know the name, but you're going to be like, oh, that dude. I love that dude with the toothy grin or whatever it is. He's got teeth. He's got weird teeth. He's got teeth that seem to take up a big part of his face. There he is. Look at him. That's Joey Pants. Joey Pants, this is a long way for me to saying that when I knew him in Chicago, he was hanging out exclusively with mobsters. It was just everywhere he went. And this is why it's important to note, this was in the 90s. This was before he would become Ralphie from The Sopranos. He wasn't Ralphie yet. He was known in Chicago and I guess everywhere for being Vito the Killer Pimp from Risky Business, the guy that's chasing Tom Cruise all over. That was like his first breakout movie. He hadn't done The Matrix yet, so he wasn't known from he was just a guy. He was on Murphy Brown, I think. He's hanging out with all these guys. Hey, yo. Yeah, he's hanging out with these guys. And they're like, hey, Joey Pants is here. Hey, let's get Joey Pants down here. He was a really nice guy. Really nice guy. Really cool guy. Really, look at him smiling. He's the best. All right, I love me some Joey Pants. So here's what we're going to do. Just so you people properly accept what an incredible character actor this dude is, we're going to do a Joey Pants draft. Look at this fruit. The Joey Pants I know would call this guy a fruit. Anyway, Joey Pants draft. Here we go. Best characters portrayed by the incomparable Joe Pantoliano, Joey Pants. First pick off the board. It can't be anything else. It can't be anything else. I know that there's one other one that you're like, no, it could be that. I'm like, no, it's not that. It's the incredible role that he won a bunch of Emmys for and Golden Globes. I mean, and then they killed him. Ralphie Cifaretti from The Sopranos is number one off the board. Joey Pants as the psychotic, yet incredibly effective at earning money, but psychotic, a character based on Mad Sam DiStefano, by the way, a Chicago outfit guy. The character of Ralphie Cifaretti was a take on Chicago outfit guy. Go ahead, Google him. Mad Sam DiStefano. Number one off the board is Ralphie Cifaretti from The Sopranos. Number two, this is what a lot of people would be like, no, he's bigger from this than he is from that. How about Cypher in The Matrix? Cypher from the Matrix films. Number three in the Joey Pants draft. How about Vito the Killer Pimp from Risky Business? Come on, Joe. Where's my money, Joe? Vito the Killer Pimp from Risky Business. How about Captain Howard from the Bad Boys films? Yeah. He was the cop. I'm getting too old for... No, that wasn't him. That's usually a black guy. He was the hard-boiled Captain Howard from Bad Boys. Number four. And number five in the Joey Pants draft is one of my favorite films. It's not for everybody. It should be for everybody. I think it might be for everybody if everybody saw it, but a lot of people don't see it, and it doesn't sound all that interesting. He played Eddie Moscone, the sleazy loan shark who double crosses the boys in Midnight Run. Have you ever seen Midnight Run? Robert De Niro and Charles Grodin. Charles Grodin is a convict being not a convict. He's a white collar criminal who's being sentenced to jail, and he's got to be transferred across country. So Robert De Niro is like the federal agent who has to transfer and go cross country with this convict, Charles Grodin. It's hysterical. It is one of the funniest movies from the 1980s, Midnight Run. It is a genius Charles Grodin performance. Also, Joey Pants. All right, there you go. That's going to do it. See, any other good Joey Pants pictures? That doesn't really sum him up for me. Look at that. Yeah, he wears a lot of ascots. Kind of fruity. Hey, kind of fruity, Joey Pants. He's kind of fruity. All these pictures, he's looking kind of fruity. There's a ball. There you go. That's a Joey Pants pick. There's a Joey Pants. Look at him right there. Hey, yo, Ralphie Cifaretti right here. Hey. All right. Joey Pants, born on this day in 1951. Born on this day in 1952, the greatest drummer who's ever lived. Don't want to hear it from anybody else. Tommy Lee was great. What about the Blink 182? Fuck you, Neil Peart. Fuck you. Neil Peart, born on this day in 1952. Neil Peart. I'm a Rush dork. I love Rush. And as we always used to say on the Pugs and Kelly show, talk shit on Rush at your own peril. And we're not talking. Like, Kelly did not like, my former partner did not like Rush, and I like Rush. I was like, Kelly, you don't want to go on record on a radio station that is with dudes listening saying you don't like Rush, because here's the thing about Rush fans: we're dorks. We are dorks. We are nerds. We will make your life hell. Don't go bad on. You know, the best thing to say when somebody. It used to be cool to say you didn't like Rush, but now all the people who are like, I'm so cool, I don't like Rush. All those dudes are like 70 now, so fuck them. It's not cool. It's not cool to say you don't like Rush anymore. I'm just telling you. Neil Peart not only is the world's greatest drummer, the most incredibly talented drummer that I've ever seen or heard in my life. And by the way, it's not just that he played everything. It's not just that. He could also play nothing. He could just play with one or two drums and a cymbal. Neil Peart was amazing. Also wrote all the lyrics. All them dorky, crazy, over-the-top, super intellectual, mythology-based lyrics that people were like opening the album covers and going, man, what is it? I don't understand what's going on with this song, Tom Sawyer, but holy shit. The Limelight. Oh my God. Spirit of the Radio. My God, that is an epic poem. That is my favorite epic poem of all time. Read the lyrics to Spirit of the Radio. It is Neil Peart's Odyssey. It's so cool. Neil Peart, born on this day in 1952. He's dead. Born on this day in 1955. Here's a guy we should all pour one out for. He ain't dead. Is he dead? I think he might be dead. Holy fuck, he's dead. Oh! I had no idea this guy was dead. And then I thought, maybe he's dead. I think the Rona got him. Peter Scolari. Do you guys remember Peter Scolari? Let me tell you, man, sometimes this happens in life. And I've always been really afraid of it. And I'll give you an example of it. There was a period of time about 23 years ago when my partner, Kelly, and she was in the running for the new seat on The View. Do you remember The View? Well, remember The View. But The View used to have like a bunch of old women, and then there was always like one younger woman who was a little bit more, and it was originally Debbie Matenopoulos. And when Debbie Matenopoulos left, they started to like bring people in, and they started to like experiment. And Kelly was up for that, and she made the running, and she was never got on the seat or anything, a tryout, but she was. And she's my partner, and I'm sitting here going, holy fuck, what's going to happen to me if she gets this? And it was like kind of guilt. I was like, well, yeah, I hope she gets it, but also if she didn't, it wouldn't be the worst thing for me. So that's kind of my experience with it. But Peter Scolari was living in an apartment, a shitty apartment in New York City with his roommate, Tom, when they both got a casting call. They had the same agent. They were young actors in New York. They got up for the same casting call. They both nailed it. It was a show called Bosom Buddies. Peter Scolari and his roommate, Tom Hanks. Peter Scolari got left in the dirt the way I was fearing Kelly would leave me in the dirt if she went to go hang out with Barbara Walters every day for an hour. Peter Scolari had to live with that for a long time. He had to live there looking at his best friend Tom Hanks become one of the most appreciated and beloved actors, not in TV, not a stupid sitcom where they dress like women. That's what Bosom Buddies was, two dudes dressed like women, so that they could live in an all-women's boarding house, which I don't think is even a thing anymore. I think the lesbians took over all the good female boarding houses. Yeah, that's probably true. Anyway, born on this day, Peter Scolari, 1955. Born on this day in 1962, Amy Yasbeck. She's an actress. This is a sad one. Check this out. Why is this sad? You don't know who Amy Yasbeck is. You would if you saw her. You'd go, I've seen her and shit. She's not a big name, but she's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I know her. Amy Yasbeck was married to John Ritter. Today is Amy Yasbeck's birthday. Yesterday was the anniversary of John Ritter dying. Oh! John Ritter died the day before his wife's birthday, is what I'm trying to say. How sad. Born on this day in 1962, Amy Yasbeck. Born on this day in 1967, Louis C.K. Genius. And I also don't think he's all that bad. I think he's going to be back, and I think he's already back. I think he has shown that when you are that level of genius, as I believe Louis C.K. is, you will always find your audience, and we now live in a world where a couple of people, ABC, CBS, NBC, don't just get to control who's famous and who gets popular. We don't live in that world anymore. So that world said to Louis C.K., you're canceled. And Louis C.K. said, fuck. Okay, well, he's doing fine. He's selling out shows. His shit goes to number one on Spotify and YouTube or whatever. I don't know. He's doing fine. Not entirely comfortable with what he's accused of doing, but I know Louis. I've known him for years. Haven't known him in years. Haven't known him since he got famous. He's one of those guys who famously was like, I'm famous now. I don't need to do local radio. So, but I knew him back then and wouldn't call him a predator. Wouldn't say that I'd be afraid. I think that... I think maybe he had no game. And he was relying on being the wacky, funny guy, and he was trying to do things that were just inappropriate. But when you're awkward and horny, I don't know. I'm not making excuses for bad behavior, except I lived through that time. So I don't know if kids today realize that there was a time when dudes used to whip their dicks out all the time. All the time. Not a big thing. Again, my partner Kelly, she says she used to jokingly say that she worked for Danny Bonaducci. He was her host. She used to jokingly say, I've seen Danny Bonaducci's dick more times than I've seen my husband's. As a thing guys did. And then the world changed. And now I see why the world's changed, with the luxury of perspective. I'm going, yeah, I guess we weren't really considering all that. Thanks for bringing it up. We're not going to do that anymore. But he did. He apparently was still whipping it out right there into like the mid-2000s or something, and that's probably problematic, I suppose. Born on this day in 1967, Louis C.K. Born on this day in 1981, Jennifer Hudson. I love Jennifer Hudson. The most successful, at least by Hollywood standards, the most successful American Idol winner. She won a fucking Oscar. She's got an Oscar. She's an Oscar-winning actress. And she started on American Idol. So, what about Carrie Underwood? Yeah, no, Carrie Underwood might be musically more successful. I think Carrie Underwood has, she's almost traversed into icon status, right? In country music? Nashville country music. Pop country. But no, man, Jennifer Hudson, she's the only one that's got that Oscar hardware, and she's acting roles. And does she have a TV show? Here's why I root for her. She's not only a South Side girl, South Side of Chicago. She went through something that is just unbelievable. Do you know what Jennifer Hudson went through a few years ago? Here, I'll read it to you. On October 24th, 2008, Jennifer Hudson's 57-year-old mother, Darnell Donnerson, and 29-year-old brother, Jason, were found shot to death inside the Chicago home that Donnerson shared with Hudson's older sister, Julia. An Amber Alert was issued for her 7-year-old nephew, Julian. 3 days later, the FBI confirmed that a body found on Chicago's west side was that of Jennifer Hudson's nephew. An autopsy indicated he had died from multiple gunshot wounds. Police charged William Balfour, Jennifer Hudson's sister, Julia's estranged 27-year-old husband, with 3 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of home invasion. He was convicted of all of them. Jennifer Hudson's entire family, or back home family where she came from, was wiped out by her sister's fucking psychotic boyfriend. Husband, I guess, estranged husband. What an incredibly awful thing. Oh my God. So look, Jennifer Hudson seems like a really lovely woman, and she seems very nice. She seems bright and all of those things. She's in a very nice, loving, committed relationship with another South Side of Chicago icon, Common. Look, if you know anything about Common, like that speaks a lot to me, because Common's like a dude. Common is like very serious and very well respected. He ain't a fool. You know, he ain't a banger. He ain't all of that. He's like a poet and an artist and a very dignified, righteous man. And for him to be with Jennifer Hudson, I'm like, yeah, that's a good matchup. That's a good matchup. I like those two. Born on this day, year of our Lord, 1981, Jennifer Hudson. Born on this day in 1986, Emmy Rossum. Oh, I like Emmy Rossum. Fiona Gallagher from Shameless. Did you guys watch Shameless? Is this one? Jeff Ballard's very, very flattering to me about the shows that I suggest. I don't know that I promote Shameless enough. Shameless was a Showtime series. I think you can still find it on Paramount Plus or wherever it is. It is so good. It ran for like 10 years. It is the story of here's why I like it, because it is the story of like the people I know. This whole thing, it's an Irish Catholic family on the south side of Chicago. To be specific, if you want to know where it is, in your head, close your eyes, imagine the stadium where the Chicago White Sox play, and it's that neighborhood. It is people in that neighborhood. That is what it's about. Now, that neighborhood is working class, good, God-fearing people, and a whole lot of trash. And the Gallaghers are kind of trash, and that's what the story's about. Shameless is the story about this trashy family that just runs ruckus all over their little domain, which is the neighborhood there. Bridgeport, back of the yards, whatever you want to call it. I love Emmy Rossum's portrayal as Fiona Gallagher, and here's why. Here's why I like her. Hold on. Got to cancel this. So where I grew up, and look, don't get me wrong, I have developed a real appreciation for the Southern girl. Not really the Southern girl, although because I do make a distinction between girls from Texas and other girls from the South. There is definitely a distinction to be made there. When I first came down here, I was like, I didn't really know how to relate or talk to her. Now that's different. Now I'm a big fan. But Emmy Rossum's portrayal of Fiona Gallagher was so tone perfect for what the kind of Catholic girls that I grew up in, or the neighborhood girls, the Chicago neighborhood girls. Nobody was better at creating that character. So let me show you a little bit of who Emmy Rossum is and this unbelievably accurate characterization of a girl that you would meet in a bar on the south side of Chicago. This is Emmy Rossum as Fiona Gallagher.
Motherfucker! Jesus! Where the fuck have you been? You disappear? You don't return my calls, my texts?
I had something come up. Oh, fuck! Fuck! God damn it! Enough with the hitting.
Tell me what you told Mike.
The truth. He needed to know.
Ow!
Oh, that was for his sake?
Yeah.
How generous.
I did you a favor, okay?
Hey! Asshole! Is this fun or what?
Oh.
Yo! Just fucking touch my ass.
Hey, Fiona.
Yo!
Come on. Fiona.
I fucking felt you! I felt you! Do it!
Nice. Again. Oh.
Oh, sorry.
Fuck. It's okay. Let's try again. Oh.
Fuck! Hey. Oh, come on.
All right, even the dead can't escape Fiona Gallagher's Southside Irish rage. I love that character. That character is so fun. Shameless, Showtime, Paramount Plus these days. It's so good. And I know I'm biased. I'm biased because it's so good about a place and a time and a people who I am intimately familiar with. And for me, I think that's great. That might not be great for you. Oh, Barney likes it. Yeah, Barney appreciates good white trash TV. You know, you people, here's the thing. All right, Barney, so you've seen Shameless. All right, so you get why I hate rich people. I mean, you get my attitude, right? You get that whole thing. People think that's very performative. I'm like, no. I come from a blue-collar, working-class people who is distrustful of anybody who's rolling around making money hand over fist because they're not doing it the right way. And we have somehow been brainwashed into thinking that you can only do it the right way. And we've got an uncle in a wheelchair because the factory that son of a bitch, you know what I'm saying. Anyway, it's an authentic working class rage. And I think Shameless is about an accurate portrayal of how the real American working class navigate this unbelievably unfair system that has been set up in America. It's, and I guess you can do it because they're white people, right? Like, I don't know, could you show like black people running scams and all of that? Or would that be, considered unfair? White people do it too. Look, I'm telling you, it's all about scams. It's all about hustles. It's all about cons. This is shameless. Shameless. They are shameless. It's all about ripping off the government for your welfare and your food stamps and all of that kind of stuff. And you know why they're comfortable with it? You could sit there and be like, oh, that's my tax dollars. Yeah, fuck you and your tax dollars. Your tax dollars are also buying some congressman from Ohio a fucking yacht. I don't hear you complaining about that. The system is fucked. Steal what you can. I encourage everybody to sign up for food stamps. Everybody. Are you fucking kidding me? You're going to sit here and you're going to let everybody else take all of this? The system needs to be fixed. We all understand that. And while it's decapitating itself or imploding or whatever you want to describe it as, let's all get a fucking taste. Come on, everybody. Let's head on over and let's engage in some welfare fraud. Everybody's doing it. Seriously, I'm not even half kidding. Think I get mad about somebody who's got 15 kids and they're taking food? I'm not mad at them. They fucking understand this. Why was it okay? This whole idea. No, it's totally okay. No, it's not okay when you see poor people taking food stamps because they can't wear condoms and now they got 10 kids. That's your rage. You're rageful at them. You know who you're not? You probably bought that bullshit Matthew Lesko book on late night television 20 years ago. The one that told you how to get government grants. Hi, I'm Matthew Lesko. I'm wearing a crazy jacket. Ruined my vibe. I was just rolling. The Matthew Lesko thing? Hi, I wrote a book and you can send me $20 and it'll teach you how to get money from the government for any idea that you have. That's the exact same fucking thing as committing welfare fraud. It's the same thing. You're gaining the system. Now, I'm not saying that everybody looked at it that way, but you don't think a whole bunch of people went, I'm going to get that book and figure out what I can get some fucking money for something that I'm not really doing, but why not? Everybody's allowed to figure it out except for us, the poor people. When the poor people try to get our fucking piece of the bullshit pie, we're the ones that are, look at them. Oh. This is no way to celebrate Emmy Rossum's birthday. I do apologize. Born on this day in 1989, Andrew Luck. Respect, mad respect for Andrew Luck. You know why? What do I always say? Get your bag. Get your bag and get out. Don't be greedy. Don't be fucking, I can be Elon Musk. No, fuck you. Get your bag. What do you need? What do you need? You need 10 million? You need 10 million to live fucking carefree and absolutely comfortable. Is that what you need? Is that your bag? When you get your bag, get out. Andrew Luck did that. Andrew Luck could still be playing in the NFL. Andrew Luck could have won 3 Super Bowls, but you know what he did? What was he, 28? Andrew Luck looked at his career earnings after 1 or 2 contracts. I think he had a rookie deal and then probably 1 contract. He looked at him and he's like, hey, man, I'm 28 years old. I got like $50 million and, I got all these endorsements and all that. I don't need to get my head bashed in anymore. I don't need trophies to justify who I am. I'm 27 with $50 million. I'm going to go take on the fucking world. And that's what Andrew Luck is doing. Andrew, good for him, man. He got out. Now, I know I got a friend who's an Indianapolis Colts fan who fucking hates him. It's just, fuck that guy. Fuck that fucking pussy. I'm like, oh, that's your take on it? Fuck that pussy? I applaud Andrew Luck. He knew what his bag was. He knew the number. He had this money. He had this sense of security. And he went, yeah, I don't really need to end up a blathering idiot at 40 because I took 1 too many shots to the head. Good for him. Andrew Luck, born on this day in 1989. Born on this day in 1997. This is an interesting birthday girl. And this might just be a one-off. If you have teenage boys, I want you to ask them a question for me. Because I've asked my teenage boy this question, and I haven't gotten the response. Like, it's Sydney Sweeney's birthday. Sydney Sweeney. So my 15-year-old heterosexual meatball boy, he's a meatball. He's a sports meatball. He's like, sports, let's just talk sports, but he likes girls. So I have, well, all right, here's how it came about. So every time like Sydney Sweeney comes on or something, or some mention of her, I always go, hubba, hubba to my kid, right? Kind of creepy, I know, but it's just me and my kid. And he's always like, So I was wondering, I'm like, do you not find her attractive? You're 15 years old. Do you not find Sydney Sweeney? She goes, she all right. She all right. That's what he says. I'm like, she all right? Sydney Sweeney? He's like, Dad, I'm more into Zendaya. And I'm like, all right, Zendaya. Now, I didn't realize this, but apparently these two, Sydney Sweeney and Zendaya, they're kind of tied to the hip because apparently they're on the same show. Which I didn't know. I don't know. I don't watch this shit. My kid likes Zendaya. And I'm like, so what about your friends? I'm like, because these are two very different girls, very different styles of girl. Zendaya is gorgeous, but she is like exotic and she's thin and lanky. And then there's Sydney Sweeney, who is not exotic. She is as blonde, all-American, big boobs, bubbly, blah, 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 blah. That's her. They're two totally different kinds of attraction. So I was wondering if maybe it was just my son who was preferential to that kind of woman, a more exotic woman like Zendaya than Sydney Sweeney. But now he told me, he's like, she's not that big among my friends. He goes, Zendaya is. And I'm like, really? So is this an old man thing? Like, does Sydney Sweeney only appeal to like older men? Like, does she not? Like, ask your 15-year-old sons or daughters. Hey man, you might have, cool ass lesbian daughters. I don't know. Ask them who they're more attracted to. Who is more, I don't want to say sexy. Who are they more attracted to? Sydney Sweeney or Zendaya? All right, report back tomorrow. Happy birthday, Sydney Sweeney. Hubba, hubba. What is she? I know she's not like 19. I know she's like in her 20s, right? So it's okay. It's not okay. It's not okay for me, a middle-aged man, to be like, hubba, hubba. But she is in the public sphere, and I am trying to be performative, so whatever. Okay. What up, Al? Al checking in the chat room. Yeah, that's gonna do it. Okay, we're done with the birthdays. We can move on. It's time now for the deads. We're spending a lot of time. Heaven or hell? Where'd they go? These are people who've died. These are people who've died. Dead on this day in 1992. Anthony Perkins. Anthony Perkins. He was in Fear Strikes Out. That was awesome. As baseball. He played Jimmy Pearsall. It's a baseball movie. One of my favorite baseball movies. It's the story of Jimmy Pearsall, who was a baseball player who went insane while playing baseball. Anthony Perkins played Jimmy Pearsall. He also played Psycho. I know, Norman Bates. Let's get that out there. Norman Bates, Psycho. He was the star of Psycho. But Fear Strikes Out is the movie where they cast him because he was kind of like a teen heartthrob at the moment. He was very bankable in Hollywood. But then they were like, he couldn't play baseball, and he threw like, well, it is famously reported that he threw like a girl. That is history. I am reporting history. The producers and directors were incredibly embarrassed for him because he threw a baseball like a girl and he was playing a great baseball player. And Jimmy Pearsall, he couldn't do that. So they spent like money and they spent all kind trying to butch him up. Tony Perkins. Tony Perkins was gay. Tony Perkins was a gay guy. Nobody in Hollywood, well, everybody in Hollywood knew he was gay, but nobody in Nebraska knew he was gay. How's that? And he married a woman. He was one of those, he did the gay thing in Hollywood the way you were supposed to do it. He got married to a woman in 1971 or 72 after being a swinging bachelor. Hey, Tony, when you going to get married to a nice gal and settle down? Those were the questions. So finally, around 71, Anthony Perkins married a woman. She was a model. And they stayed married for the rest of his life. He died on this day in 1992, and he was still married. 20 years he was married to this woman. I think they even had a couple kids. They had a couple of kids. He's still gay. He was still gay, just so we're all aware. It is now widely accepted that he was gay. He was in what his wife at the time said. They only had sex a couple of times, and that was only to produce children because he wanted children. They didn't have sex. He had a life outside. He's going to heaven. He's going to heaven because that must have been really difficult for a dude. That must have been hard. I always have compassion for these people back then who were just like, fruity little gay dudes who like had to hide that because America and Hollywood specifically was all about macho John Wayne. Well, Anthony Perkins could probably play macho. Well, that's not true because we watched Fear Strikes Out where he portrayed baseball player Jimmy Piersall. He was not macho. I love that movie primarily because of how bad Anthony Perkins is in the movie trying to pretend like a baseball player. He literally... He pranced. He was pranced. There was a thing where he's running around the bases, and it's not good. It's not good. Psycho, Norman Bates. That's great. That's great. Didn't he also have something to do? Did he have something to do with Planet of the Apes? If he did, even better. He's going to heaven. Anthony Perkins. He had to live his life in the shadows. That's unfair. Who else died on this day? I think Raymond Burr also died on this day. Oh, no, on this day in 1993. Yeah, Raymond Burr. Canadian-American actor, director, Raymond Burr. Raymond Burr was Ironsides. Raymond Burr was Perry Mason. Raymond Burr was also a gay man. Raymond Burr was a gay man. Raymond Burr was married for a couple of years in actually a couple of months. He was married for a couple of months in the 1960s when he was on Perry Mason. And then he stayed single again. And then in like 1980, he became partnership in a winery in Northern California with some dude named Gabriel who 40 years later when Raymond Burr died, he seemed to leave everything to Gabriel. Raymond Burr was gay. Perry Mason, Ironsides, he was also gay. There you go. Where do we put him? Where do we put him in heaven? Do we put him in heaven? He doesn't get... I'm feeling generous. We're going to put him in heaven. Him and Anthony Perkins, they're in line right now. They're talking about how they had to hide being gay from Hollywood for like 30 years. Although I bet they knew. Like, wouldn't you think that, like, if you were a gay dude in 1968 in Hollywood, wouldn't you know all the other gay dudes in Hollywood? Like, there would have to be some sort of secret club. Oh, I didn't know. So I'm sure Raymond Burr and Tony Perkins knew each other. I don't even want to go there. Why do you do that? Why are you such a pig of a man? Like, as soon as you think of Raymond Burr being gay and Tony Perkins being gay, and now you're talking about whether or not they knew each other, why is your next thought, did they fuck? See, if I had an ensemble show right now, I would have somebody on the show who would be able to jump in and do an instant vocal imitation of Raymond Burr and Anthony Perkins having sex. And it would have been hysterical to everyone listening in 1995. But nobody even knows who Raymond Burr is. Nobody knows who Anthony Perkins is. All right, they're both dead. And they're both in heaven. Dead on this day in 2003, Johnny Cash. Ooh, this is a complicated one because Johnny Cash was a fuck up. Johnny Cash is a very complicated guy. I think he's an incredible guy. I have huge admiration and respect, and I think Johnny Cash is cool. And I didn't get into Johnny Cash until I was like 40 years old. So, I mean, I am a newcomer to him in the way he sings and the way he says these words and his just overall. We forget how big Johnny Cash was, but for much of America that didn't live in the South, America that didn't have country music pumping out of every car radio, for much of America, Johnny Cash was the only country music star we knew. He was the guy. He was like the biggest star in the country music, and it probably because he was, and he crossed over. He's also very complicated, a man of faith. He loved his God. He loved his Jesus. He loved his Bible. He didn't cram it down people's throats. He was also very complicated. He liked guns, and he liked fighting and drinking and doing drugs and getting wild. And, all of that stuff would make you think that I would probably have to put John. I've seen the movies. I've read a book about him. I would almost make you think that he would have to go to hell for the way he comported himself much of the 50s and 60s. Johnny Cash was a hooligan and a wild man and out of control. But then see what somebody like Johnny Cash, who has traversed over this line of I'm just a celebrity to I'm a fucking icon of this country's culture. That's where Johnny Cash is. He's up there with, some other examples, Frank Sinatra, Elvis Presley, Michael Jackson, like it or not, Dolly Parton. He's up there. So now we must consider a whole other aspect of his life, and that is the impact it had on other people. And I'm telling you, Johnny Cash has moved me to tears and moved me to think and blown my mind with his simple phrasing. For a lot of people, and I have to claim that this was the first time that he actually moved me as well, because I wasn't familiar with his stuff before this. And as I said, I didn't get into his catalog of stuff until I was in my 40s. But it was the first time you heard him when he worked with Trent Reznor and he did those 9 Inch Nails songs. I mean, that was like the first time I listened to this guy and I went, oh, I don't know what the fuck this is. This works. This totally works. And Trent Reznor knew that beforehand. He's like, you know who needs to sing my songs? Johnny Cash. It was just so powerful. I'm putting Johnny Cash in heaven because it's just what he meant to people. Just when you leave that kind of an imprint on people, I think that sort of, I think that makes that you go to heaven. It's a positive impact, a decency, a kindness, a regret. I am a man and I am undeniably flawed, but I know this and I'm going to try. I'm going to try and stay aware of my flaws. And the next time I'm going to try and be better. That's who he was. And that's what he represented to a lot of people. And I think that's magical. Johnny Cash, that on this day in 2003, he's going to heaven. All right. Once again, I'd like to remind you the show runs on your tips. The big tipper of the day's show gets to be the executive producer. Today we have nobody. But that's all right. You can change that. You can be tomorrow's executive producer on the show simply by going to the Venmo or the Cash App. This show has been on the air now for 3 years, and we've existed week to week, quite literally tank of gas to tank of gas off of your tips. This is literally like a bartender. So help out if you can, because man, oh man, it was not a good month last night. And that's good. That's fine. We'll be fine. We will survive. We always do survive. Hold on. I just lost my place here. We're going to get into all the day's big stories. We're going to run through the top events. Top events. Oh, fucking stupid. I'm distracted. Is it the 12th? It is the 12th. Okay. How you guys doing? You guys cool? We're just taking a little break here. Ugh, good. I just saw something I didn't like. All right. Here we go. Top story. And we're going to run through these pretty quickly. There was an earthquake in California, in Malibu, apparently a 4.7 earthquake in Malibu, California. I don't know what kind of news this is making anywhere. I've been a bit blacked out now for the last hour and 23 minutes since I've been in here. It didn't seem like it was big. It didn't seem like there was any damage. It happened. I got an alert for it right as it was happening on my scanner. And then I didn't see anything on the news at all. And then I started seeing things on Twitter, with, there was an earthquake in Malibu. CNN didn't mention it. I didn't hear anything. So I don't really know. Let me quickly jump and check my news aggregation site that I like to use. And see if there's any, other than just saying, yeah, there was an earthquake. Oh, yeah. Okay, here we go. All right, let's see what they're saying. This comes from Deadline. Malibu has been shaken by a 4.7 earthquake and aftershocks. Southern California breaks record for most magnitude 4 and above quakes in a single year. Well, that can't be good. That can't be good. A magnitude 4.7 earthquake hit Malibu and nearby communities at 7:28 a.m. today. 2.8 aftershock arrived minutes later, followed by 4 more ranging from 2.7 to 3.5 in the next hour. The first quake, originally reported as a 5.1, but later downgraded, was centered 5 miles north of Malibu and 7 miles deep. 7 miles deep, is that? How are we supposed to? 7 miles? It was 7 miles deep. And then somebody's like, yeah, that's usually they're like 1,000 feet deep. I don't know what that means. Well, it was 7 miles deep. Yeah, what does that mean? Is that deep for an earthquake? Or is that, sorry, I'm not a geologist. In a televised Q&A just after the tremblers, United States Geological Service seismologist Lucy Jones said, "We have had more than the average number of magnitude 4 quakes in Southern California this year. The average being about 8 magnitude 4 sequences. That being sequences of at least 1 magnitude." Okay, I don't care, whatever. I'm not seeing any big reports on damage and all that, so possibly we're going to be okay there. The other big thing was Merrick Garland. He's our Attorney General. He came out today, Attorney General Merrick Garland, who I have to tell you, man, I was like very upset that he was not allowed his place on the Supreme Court. I was like, you can't. What do you mean he can't appoint? That was a fucked up situation we're not going to get into. Barack Obama was outgoing as president, and he had an opening on the Supreme Court. He should have filled it, and they said, no, you can't fill it because you're outgoing. Well, he's still president. He's president for 4 years. You're goddamn right he can fill it. Do you think for 1 minute, if Trump was in a lame duck 3-month period and an opening on the Supreme Court came, do you think that he would go, now I'm going to leave it to the next guy? I mean, what the fuck? So I didn't know anything about Merrick Garland. I just knew I was looking at that situation going, but he's still president. He's still, but the American people voted for a new president. Yeah, well, he wasn't running. The last time he ran, they voted for him for the second time. He's still president. There's a Supreme Court opening. The president, no, we'll wait. We'll wait. Okay. Yeah, if it was reversed, no fucking way in hell. Anyway, that always bugged me about Merrick Garland. Like I said, I didn't know anything about him. I don't follow judges. I just thought that the situation was a little bit bullshit, but okay. So then they make this dude the Attorney General as sort of like we're sorry, and they make him Attorney General, and he fucking sucks at this job too. I'm glad he's not the Supreme Court Justice now. He seems like he is a feckless pussy. Well, he came out today trying to make a stand for the Department of Justice. He came out and said, we will not stand for you to criminalize the Department of Justice. Oh, shut up, Merrick Garland. Shut up. There you go. So that's that. We got earthquakes. We got Merrick Garland talking about how stop being mean to the Department of Justice. We had that today. Some numbers for the debate, the big debate the other day. It was a big debate. There were big numbers. The Kamala Harris-Donald Trump debate on ABC News drew 67.14 million viewers. 67.14, that's far more than the 51 million who tuned into CNN's Trump-Biden debate in June. So Trump-Biden did 51 million people. Trump-Harris did 67.14 million. So, that's like 16 million new people who have been brought into this conversation, this political race, who last time in June, when it was just Trump and Biden, were like, yeah, I'm going to pass. I know both these clowns. Not interested. That's interesting. Because I don't think it's a new 16 million Trump fans or possible Trump supporters who were just, in June, they were like, yeah, we're not going to watch. No. Trump's army shows up for anything. They're some of the most loyal political following in the history of American politics. They are without a doubt. So they showed up. So who is this new 16 million that decided to tune in on Tuesday to check this out? And which way will they vote? I don't know. It's interesting. ABC led the way of all platforms for the night. They had 19 million. NBC came in second with 10 million. Fox News had 9 million, followed by MSNBC, CBS, Fox, and 4 million, each with 6 million, 6 million, and 4 million, and 4 million. There you go. Big night for debates. Okay, so Tyreek Hill. We talked about him on Monday. That was the big story as we started on Monday. Tyreek Hill, Miami Dolphins wide receiver, was pulled over by Miami police on his way to the game on Sunday afternoon. It was a big hubbub. People, standers by, captured it on video. He was roughed up. He was thrown on the ground. He was whatever. We didn't know what was going on when we were watching the video from the perspective of the civilians driving by. But then a day later, very quickly, shout out to the Miami Police Department. Transparency, baby. That's what you want. The very next day. It wasn't like, we'll have to wait at least a week for this to release the body cam. No, man, they came right out with it. And they came right out with body cam that did not portray their officers in the best light. Which is, I'm sorry, folks. For all you are out there, I hate the police are all bad. This is progress. This is progress. The Miami-Dade had the body cam. The body cam made their officers look like assholes, and they still released it instantly. Okay, now don't what about me. Well, what about Atlanta? Okay, no, don't what about me. I'm saying this is progress. This is how you want. So this is something to be optimistic about. Now, when it happens again, then we'll judge that department and see if they have followed in the footsteps of Miami. But this was good. The police are doing the good thing. The police union are doing what a union does. Those cops did nothing wrong. He was a violent criminal and they were under threat. That's kind of the tone of the Miami Police Union. And they went hard with that tone like an hour before the body cam was released. It's like, you'll see. Wait till you see. He was violent. He was out of control. The police were justified. And then they released the body cam, and we saw anything but that. Tariq Cohn is now sort of a cause celeb. He's going around on TV. He's talking about, the problems with police and all that. Who'd have thought Tariq Cohn. Oh, God bless Tariq Cohn. Tyreek Hill. Who'd have thought Tyreek Hill would be a much listened to civil rights and police reform expert. But here we are. Here we are. He says he wants the police officer fired now. Tyreek Hill is saying, that guy needs to be fired. I'm with you. I'm not with him. See, it's easy for like a 26-year-old kid with $100 million or whatever it is that Tyreek Hill to just sit there and go, I've decided I want him fired. I want his life over. That's very Joffrey. But he wants him fired. The officer in question is 27-year Miami veteran Danny Torres. He's been placed on administrative duties. Tyreek also admits that he feels that he could have been better. And yeah, he could have. He could have been better. He did what was. Tyreek could have dialed down the attitude. And maybe he could have understood that he was in a very fancy car with smoked windows that the officers on the outside couldn't see inside. So when you're stopped there and there's an officer outside your window, how about do the officer the courtesy of keeping the window down? So at the very least, this officer can make sure that you're not reaching to pull a Glock from under the passenger seat. That I get. That I get. I heard the explanation from the Miami Police Department as to why that officer wanted his window down, even while he had already had and it makes sense. The officer wanted the window down because he couldn't see inside the car. He didn't know what he was doing inside that car. It's a dangerous situation for an officer. We must respect that. We have to respect that not everybody is Tyreek Hill, and it's going to be some misunderstanding that, evolves into some big stupid thing that we're all talking about. No, sometimes it really is going to be a fucking banger with a fucking gun under his seat. So I get it. But he wants him fired. I don't think that Officer Danny Torres, a 27-year veteran, needs to be fired. But I do think Officer Danny Torres needs to never be allowed to wear a uniform on the streets of Miami again. He can go work in the evidence room. Why? We see that all the time. We see television shows that depict life of a police officer, and we meet these characters all the time. They're not always, I'm in control of the crash team. I'm on the SWAT team. I'm a sniper. I'm a chief detective. No, a lot of times there's people on these shows who just sit at a desk. Well, you got to sign up. You want to sign out that blood evidence? You're going to have to sign. Give them one of those jobs. Give him one of those jobs, because the street is obviously not for Danny Torres. He's been there 27 years. 27 damn years. What's going to happen now with Officer Torres, too, now that he's in the limelight? Here's another reason why he's got to be taken off the street. Because I promise you that there are a bunch of ambulance-chasing lawyers in the Miami area who are now pulling in and digging up every single conviction that Officer Danny Torres, has been a part of. And they're now going to look with this new evidence of how he behaves. They are now going to look at these and they're going to try and get people out of jail. They're going to try and overturn fucking adjudicated cases because of this guy. Whenever a police officer comes across like this, you can bet it's going to be a big problem for the police department. So you just can't have him on the street. But you don't have to end his life. You don't have to end his career. You don't have to kick him out after 27 years. You can let him ride a desk. Let him be the asshole you have to deal with when, your car gets stolen and you go down to the police department. Hi, I need to fill out some paperwork. Let him be that guy. Let him be that guy. No, he should be fired because, and this is where I would beg you to just utilize a little bit of compassion. This is what I think we need more of when we make these sweeping judgments. A little compassion. We don't know anything about this guy. We don't know anything about him. So that's why just fuck him. He doesn't, what if he's a person? He's a complicated person who in a very public moment embarrassed himself and showed that he can't do the job that he's been tasked with. That's fine. That's all shit he's got to live with. But what else? What if this person has 2 kids? And what if one of his kids is in a wheelchair? And what if he's also taking care of his father who's in the 3rd stages of cancer? And have a little compassion for people in their lives. He did something wrong. We don't need to go overboard and end Officer Torres's life, his career. No, he's going to lose his pension because he's going to be dismissed with prejudice or whatever. Shouldn't be a cop. We can all agree on that. He should never be in that position again, and the Miami Police Department has to acknowledge that. But we also don't have to put him out of work and upend his life and affect everybody in his world. It's just a sad situation. Tyreek Hill out there calling for his job. Fuck you, Tyreek. 27-year-old, $100 million kid acting like everybody. We're getting our job. He'll be fine. We're getting our job. Have some compassion for people. That's what I would have liked to have heard from Tyreek Hill. What I just said. All right. What else do we have here? Tyreek Hill, Shannon Sharpe. Okay. All right. Yeah, here we go. Sticking with football. Woo! Shay. Afternoon delight. Shannon Sharpe, man. All right, bro. First of all, brother, I love Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe is not somebody who I ever gave much of a thought to until about a year ago. Shannon Sharpe crushes it with digital content. His Club Shay Shay podcast gets all the biggest names. They get into all the coolest shit. He's also a lot of fun. His After Dark, I don't know, I subscribe to his After Dark show every night. Every night. I love this. It's so cool. Every night, Shannon Sharpe and Chad Ochocinco just hang out and talk for an hour. And they don't talk about, we're not breaking down defenses or talking about running routes and shit like that. They talk about everything. They're just like 2 dudes who are in, I got to tell you, Chad Ochocinco, who I used to hate. I used to think he was like the worst of the diva type receivers. He's actually pretty cool. Like, I love him. Like, I love Chad Ochocinco. He seems so innocent. He seems like he really is an innocent sort of, anyway. Shannon Sharpe's a baller. I got a lot of respect for him. I think he's terrific. So yesterday, Shannon Sharpe apparently was banging some chick in the middle of the afternoon at like 2:00 in the afternoon. And from what I've heard, I have not seen or heard. Apparently he was doing a good job of it, at least judging from his partner's responses. So he's having sex with this girl yesterday. And apparently he didn't know that he was streaming it live on Instagram. He says he took his phone. Shannon Sharpe says he took his phone. It's 2:00 in the afternoon. Shannon Sharpe says he took his phone and threw it on the bed. And then he and this woman began having sex. And he didn't know, like when he threw it, that his big dumb Shannon Sharpe finger hit the Instagram button or something. I don't know. He doesn't know. And he claims it's because he doesn't know anything about this. He's already talked about it because Shannon Sharpe is cool. This happened yesterday. He's being embarrassed. Everybody's like, oh, he's going to be fired. He's like, no, you can't fire him. He's his own thing. But go ahead, ESPN. If you want to walk away from him, go ahead. So last night on his thing with Ochocinco, he addressed it. like hours after. This is what I love about the immediacy of digital content creators. This happened at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. By 10 o'clock at night, he's talking with Chad Ochocinco about it while he's trending #1 and everybody's making fun of him. He's leaning into it. Here it is. Let's listen to this. This is this the actual YouTube? Yeah. So this is Shannon Sharpe from, what the fuck? Hold on. There we go. Shannon Sharpe, Unk. Love this story. All right, let's listen to what he has to say. This is courtesy of Shannon Sharpe. He's going to address his IG mishap. Oh, that sucked. Here we go.
Here, go ahead and click that subscribe button below so you don't miss a single episode of.
All right.
Obviously, I'm embarrassed. Someone that is extremely, extremely private, and to have one of your most intimate details, the audio heard for the entire world to hear. I'm embarrassed for a number of reasons. People count on Shannon, Shay Shay Media, Club Shay Shay, Nightcap, ESPN. There are a lot of people that count on Shannon to be professional at all times. And I always try to be professional at all times. Even when I'm behind closed doors, I still try to remain a level of professional, although I'm in the privacy of my own home. And I'm very disappointed in myself, not for the act. I think there are millions and billions of people of consenting age that engage in activities. But to have.
Well, yeah, Shannon. I mean, humanity's very existence is proof of that statement, but you don't have to explain that you have sex and then it's normal to have sex, Shannon. We all get it. Here's what this is about, Shannon, and you're doing a great job, by the way. He's doing a great job. Here's what it's about. You fucked up. You're taking your lumps. Take them like a man. We'll forget about it by tomorrow and we'll move on. And in 5 years, someone will go, hey, remember when he had that IG fucking thing? He accidentally, sent his own sex tape out there. And we'll all go, no, I don't even remember that. Because that's how it's done. We have tiny little gerbil memories. But do go on, Shannon. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of him. I'm sorry.
Have your most intimate detail on the audio to be heard. I'm disappointed in myself. I let a lot of people down. My kids. I reached out to them. I called them. I called my sister.
So while this was happening, this also needs to be mentioned. So while he's making the sweet love to some woman, has anyone asked the question, is he married? Is there another wave of problems behind the scenes that, he's just addressing the fact that he's embarrassed and that he was having sex. But is there like a girlfriend that thinks she's his girlfriend who did not have sex with him yesterday afternoon, who is now like, who were you? Is there a wife? Is there a Mrs. Shannon Sharpe? And is Sterling, his brother, involved in this in any way, shape, or form? Let's go on.
My friends reached out.
I forgot what I wanted to mention. He's talking about his friends reaching out. So while he's doing this yesterday, while he's having sex, and while everybody on his Instagram is hearing, they're hearing this, he's going live, he's streaming it live. While everybody is hearing this, his phone is going nuts. His friends, his managers, everybody who realized this, who got an alert that he has gone live, are checking it out and trying to call him. And of course, because Shannon Sharpe is a sensitive lover, he is ignoring the phone calls. He is ignoring the calls and the texts. I mean, his phone is blowing up and he's just like, you better not answer that, baby. I won't answer it. Well, you should have answered it, Shay Shay. You should have answered it.
But guys, this was not staged. Came in, I threw my phone on the bed, gazed in an activity. I did not know IG Live. I've never been on IG Live. I've never turned IG Live on. So I don't know how it works.
Let me tell you something, people. You have never, and I try to tell you that I'm always going to be authentic and above board, and sometimes I'll be theatrical and performative, but I'll never mislead you. I've said some things on this show that I thought have been truly honest, and I hope you've taken them that way. That is the most honest thing you are ever going to hear from anybody in media ever. He is looking into the camera as a man in his late 50s. He might even be 60. As a man of his age who doesn't understand apps, who doesn't understand how the buttons work. He is staring at you and telling you, look, I don't know how this happened. I don't know what I'm doing. I just threw my phone. That is truth. He looks so vulnerable in this moment. He looks so like, look, people, I don't know, this whole world's been moving so fast lately. I am a man. I was born in the mid-60s. I have no idea.
And engaged in an activity. I did not know IG Live. I've never been on IG Live. I've never turned IG Live on. So I don't know how it works. And so all of a sudden, my other phone is going off and people are calling me FaceTime that I've never talked to a day in my life on FaceTime. And it didn't, I'm like, why are y'all calling me FaceTime? And after a while, Jamie Fritz, who's been my longtime marketing guy, he finally got through to me and he said, Shannon, you on IG Live.
Oh, yeah. I bet your marketing guy was on point. Your marketing guy, he was there the first, and he's like, what the fuck is this? I got it. Oh, my. Yeah, the market. It's good. You know what? That's good. It's good that his marketing guy is the one who first got through to him because that's what Shannon pays him for. Shannon pays him for all of this kind of stuff.
Like doing what? You know, through while Jamie Fritz, who's been my longtime marketing guy, he finally got through to me and he said, Shannon, you on IG Live. I'm like, doing what? You know,
doing what? Don't you mean doing whom? Doing what? Shay, you're on Instagram Live. No, I'm not. What am I doing on Instagram
Live? Fritz, who's been my longtime marketing guy, he finally got through to me and he said, Shannon, you on IG Live. I'm like, doing what? You know, I'm like, what am I on IG Live for? I ain't hit no IG Live button. He says, they can hear. I'm like, so now, Ocho, you know, I say ask for patience. He said they can hear. And now I'm starting to get agitated again because you called me and say I'm on IG Live when I know I didn't click myself on IG Live.
And now he's starting to get agitated. All right, let's try and paint this picture. I'm imagining like a bed, like a round sex bed from the 70s with like some shag zebra stuff and all of that. A lot of velvet on the walls, a red room. I don't know where he is. I like to imagine that he's in one of these fuck hotels, you know, just off the side of the road that cater to people looking to have. So I imagine that's where he is. He's probably naked from the waist down. He doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who takes his shirt off during sex. He takes his shirt off when he wants to be performative and show people his muscles, but when it's actually a sharing sexual relationship, I imagine he just pulls his penis out and goes for it because that's how a lot of dudes who get a lot of women do it. They don't really care about the whole aesthetic of turning her on. So he's standing there. He's got a t-shirt on. He's probably semi at this point, right? And he's like confused as fuck. He's sweating. He's just had a sexual relationship with this woman, and now he's talking to his marketing director, and his marketing director is talking to him about something he's doing on Instagram, a thing he has no idea about. He doesn't know about Instagram. I don't know. Wait, you saying I'm streaming on Instagram? Why? I must have been hacked. I'm not streaming on Instagram. Again, this is all post-coital. This is all him in the moments following, a climax, if you will. And it went from to what? This is crazy. Bottle of champagne probably in a bucket there in the room.
And he said they can hear me.
What, baby? What's going on, baby? Like she's on like in a movie. She's like hot too. She's like really hot and probably like 20 years younger than him. But she's like, what, baby? And she's naked. And she's now pulling the white sheet over her. I'm picturing this as it's going on, as he's having a conversation with his marketing director.
I said, hear me doing what? He said, it sounds like you were having sex. Man, my heart sank.
Oh.
It dropped. And obviously, I run my accounts, but Jordan being the good Samaritan, the good soldier that he is, Jordan the one that cut it off. Because hell, I didn't even know it was on. Jordan cut it off. Jordan put the message up. And then after I called my agent, the agency, I called ESPN after I just got this tell them the truth. I said, I just got to tell them the truth. My phone wasn't hacked. It wasn't a prank. It was me being a healthy, active male. I mean, y'all thought I was bull jiving. Hey, I'll get it in. Real talk.
All right. Here comes Ocho. I want to see how Ocho. We're not supposed to be playing this. We're not. So this show, by the way, this is one of the reasons why this show makes no money. You'll never be able to see this show probably ever again, because I'm sure that Nightcap with Shannon Sharp is going to lay the hammer down and block this video out because we're using it. But hey, if you're here live streaming in the moment, that's what this is about. So let's see how Ocho handles this. Ocho's so funny.
Y'all thought I was bull jiving. Hey, I'll get it in. Real talk. Hey, Ocho. See, I don't, man. Unc be lying. Unc lying. Unc ain't lying.
Come on, man.
He sparks hard, Ocho. And, I hit one early this morning.
Come on, man.
In all sincerity, I'm extremely embarrassed that a very, very private, intimate situation, the audio can be heard. And I'm extremely disappointed in myself. 5 minutes before I came on, phone rings. It's Cat Williams. So I say, yeah.
All right, we don't need to hear that. There you have it. Shannon Sharp. Look, I feel justified in liking him. He handled that well. That's exactly how you got to do. Look, here's what happened. I'm embarrassed. I'm not going to lie to your face now because I'm trying to save my own ego. Good for him. Although I do want to know, isn't he married? Is he married? I don't even know. I don't even know if Shannon Sharp is married or not. All right, there you have it. That's what's going on with Shannon Sharp. Let's see what else we have here. We did that. We did Shannon Sharp. We did do we need that? No. Oh, how about this? John Bon Jovi. Let's talk about John Bon Jovi. Shot through the heart, and you're to blame. Yeah. Bon Jovi. Did you guys see the Bon Jovi Hulu doc series? Very disappointing. Very disappointing. Very disappointing. Kind of like Bon Jovi in general. Like Bon Jovi has its moments where you're like, that song's a banger. But for some reason, like pound for pound, when I feel like, how do I feel about Bon Jovi? I think maybe more disappointed than, I don't know why. A lot of real disposable 80s, 90s pop rock in there. But I'd say for every 5 disposable generic 80s pop rock song that's totally forgettable, for every 5 there's one that is an absolute all-time crowd pleaser banger. And at this point in their career, Bon Jovi's probably got 10 of those. So if you just go to a Bon Jovi concert, they got 10 hammers in their bag. They got 10 that they can just throw. Yeah, you can sit around. We're going to do the new stuff. Okay, I'm going to go get a beer and go to the bathroom. Let me know when you play I'm a Cowboy. Let me know when that song comes on. Bon Jovi was, I guess he's got a solo album coming out, John Bon Jovi. John Bon Jovi was in Nashville doing promotional pictures. Promotional photos, I guess. Please tell me it was there last night. Please tell me it's still here. Yeah. All right. He was in Nashville. Got a new album, solo stuff, and he was doing promotional pictures for the album. Oh, that's too big. I don't need that. He was doing promotional pictures for the new album on a bridge in Nashville. It's a pedestrian bridge. There's a lot of people. And John Bon Jovi apparently encountered a woman on this bridge who was going to commit suicide. She was about to take her own life. And John Bon Jovi rescued her. He walked up to her. Now, here's how we know this is what happened. This is a security camera that we're watching here. There is no sound. It's not like the person with John Bon Jovi was recording and now look at what that would make it feel very staged. And I don't think John Bon Jovi is that kind of person. So what we have here is this is the Nashville Police Department. They have released this security camera footage of this pedestrian bridge. And you're going to watch John Bon Jovi go up to a woman who was about to kill herself and jump off the bridge. And essentially, we don't know what's said. We don't hear it, but we do see it. So here, let me point it out to you. This is the woman right here. You see this? Are we sharing? I'm going to make sure we're sharing. We are. Okay. This woman right here in the blue, you can see she's standing on the other side of the railing. This woman right here. This is John Bon Jovi. Okay, this is John Bon Jovi, and I don't know if this is John Bon Jovi's wife or John Bon Jovi's assistant, but it appears that they may be together. But this is John Bon. Oh, here is this is the photographer. This is the person that was taking these pictures of John Bon Jovi for the new album. This woman and John Bon Jovi go up to this woman. Let's watch how it plays out. Okay, the woman is keeping her distance. She appears to be putting something down. Now here comes John Bon Jovi. Hey, darling, do you like rock music? And now the woman's talking to her. I don't know what they're saying. Do you think she knows? Like, does she know that it's John Bon Jovi? Because here, let me tell you how I would be about this. A couple of ways you can go. If I'm this person and I suffer from depression, so, yeah, it could be me. Could be me. No, couldn't. No, trust me. But I understand this mindset of this person. This person is not here probably. I mean, if they're an authentically suicidal person, they're here after great contemplation. This isn't just, the people who just are like, I had a bad day, I'm going to jump. Sometimes those people do, but that's not really how suicide usually plays out. People who take their own life put a lot of thought into it. They plan it out. They may even do dry runs or whatever, but it's not something willy-nilly. Like I say, man, somebody who takes their own life, you put a gun to your head and you pull that trigger. Pulling that trigger is the most sincere thing that person will ever do in their life, because you know without a doubt, you utilize this muscle to pull this trigger back and it's over for you. That is sincere. You understand what's at stake. So this woman is standing on the side of the bridge. It looks like she's about to jump, and all of a sudden, John Bon Jovi shows up. Now, I don't know if there's anything John Bon Jovi could say to me that would get me to suddenly, change my view of life and want to keep going. But I do know this. The moment's ruined. The moment is ruined for me. Would you get the fuck out of here, John Bon Jovi? I'm trying to kill myself, and now this is all a whole John Bon Jovi saved someone's life. So maybe she's just given up on it because she's like, fuck, John Bon Jovi. Now it's suddenly a John Bon Jovi story. It's not a story about me and what I've gone through in this horrible moment that I find myself in. Now, this is about rock star John Bon Jovi saving somebody who's about to kill themselves. Fuck it. I'll try again tomorrow. So now you see Bon Jovi talking to her. Shot through the heart. Look at these other people just walk. Oh my God, look at the photographer. I didn't even notice the photographer. Did you guys see the photographer here? Probably works for the record company. I'm going to get photos of this. This would be great for album sales. By the way, I don't mean to say that as any sort of, aspergement on John Bon Jovi. I think he's being an honest guy here. Look at him now. He's there. Now he's got her. He's touching her. He's hugging her. John Bon Jovi bringing her over, and look at her. How about a big hug? Can we do a hug between you two? Show me a hug. Oh, sure. Now everybody else is coming around. Who's this over here? Any other dudes distracted by this chick and wondering, is she hot? She looks like she might be hot. Totally lost track of what's going on here. This beautiful moment in humanity, because there's a girl in a white flowing sundress who I really want to see now. There you have it. John Bon Jovi. How great is he? How great is he? April says, did she get promised Bon Jovi tickets for life? Right? Although, why not? Why not? Be the suicide lady. Maybe he writes a song. Maybe he writes another, all-timer inspired by what happened here on the bridge. John Bon Jovi saves a lady. Let's see. What else do we have? Guys, I think that's it. I think we're going to call it a show today. We're going to call it a show. That's it. I've got a couple of things that I've left here on the table, but I've got something I've got to do here at 2:30, so I got to get prepared for that. Oh, also today, man. You guys, very, very big day. Very, very big day. It's game night. It is a game night. High school football in America. Thursday night, lights for half the game. Friday night lights, I guess, is for the varsity. Friday night, they get their games under the lights. It's incredible. The junior varsity, we get Thursday night. First half, we won't need the lights. Second half, around the fourth quarter, we'll turn the lights on. So it's like almost Thursday night lights. We got a big game. Got a big game out there at Kimbrough Stadium. Junior varsity going to be out there taking a Saxy. We're playing Saxy. Saxy. Which, you know, want to know how funny the town of Saxy is? So I'm like, okay, so we got a home game against Saxy. And I always like to know how far the other team has to travel. And I'm like, well, Saxy? Holy shit, that sounds like that's Shuttle Country, Texas. Shuttle Country is a term I use to describe anywhere that is in the remote eastern open section of Texas around like Louisiana border and all that. We call it Shuttle Country because that's where the space shuttle left a field of debris for like 30 miles. I thought that's where Saxy was. Guess what? Saxy is like right next. Do you know that the average kid who plays for Saxy is probably got a shorter drive to this stadium than the kids who play for my own kids' team? And my own kids are playing a home game. Seriously, Saxy is right there. I had no idea. And I'm like, well, why doesn't Saxy use this stadium? Why is this only Plano East using this stadium? Saxy is right there. Saxy is closer to the stadium than Plano East is. Anyway, so Saxy's right there. I didn't know. See, I learned something about the Metroplex. I knew Saxy was a thing. I just didn't know it was right there. I didn't know it was right next to, like, what is that, Murphy and Plano? Just, is it north of Garland? I don't know. So that's what we're playing. I'm very nervous about the game tonight because as I tell you, my son, 15 years old, plays Texas high school football. He is a center. He is the long snapper. His team last year went undefeated and just housed everybody, just killed everybody. The freshman team was unstoppable, so much so that the varsity coach started attending the freshman games just to see what he was looking at here. So we had great hopes for the junior varsity this year. We had great hopes that we were going to be really good. Started out, first game of the season, way to do it. That's a victory. Last week, second game of the season, they got their asses handed to them. They got their asses handed to them, and they didn't get their asses handed to them. Okay, when I say that, you think, what was it, 47-0? No. Nah, I think it was 28-24 or something like that. But the mere fact that they lost it all after going undefeated last year was like, what the fuck? And you know why they lost? They lost because they think they're, I love these kids. I love every kid on this team. They are good personalities. They are my son's friends. They hang out at his house. Drive them to movies. I know these kids. They're good kids. But they got a little cocky. They thought, nobody could beat us. And they came out on a road game last week, and they had no energy, and they were just 3 and out, and they were just nothing on offense. The only reason the game was tight was because their defense is still just fucking crazy good. Even though the defense gave up 28 points, which I don't think I've ever seen them give up. I've never seen their defense give up more than 14 points in a game. So here we go, week 3. Week 3, we are 1-1. We are 1-1. We know we're good. We know we're good enough to compete at the highest level, but we are 1-1 going into next week against Plano West. Do we want to go against Plano West? 1-2? No. So we got to make Saxy our bitch tonight. And I'm very nervous. Because what if they suck? What if it's like, oh my God. Oh no, we suck again, which would totally be appropriate because in 8th grade, my son's 8th grade team did not win a game the whole year. They were winless. And then the freshman team, which is made up of a whole bunch of other kids, the freshman team that he plays for, they go undefeated. And yeah, so I'm afraid that here we are in year 3. I'm afraid, oh no, we suck again. Thank you. Yeah, I'll give you a water boy. I'll give you a water boy shout out every now and again. Oh no! Greatest thing Rob Schneider's ever done. The Cajun from Waterboy. Oh no, we suck again. We better not suck, is all I'm saying. We better not suck. So I'm nervous. So that's the game. That's what I got to do tonight. Hey, look, we got another one of those. We got two. We got two bots in the chat room right now. I love it. I love having bots in the chat room. Just ignore them, but it's nice to see that maybe we're making some progress. All right, guys, that's it. I'm going to sign off here. I appreciate you hanging out. We do this every day. Oh, boy. Monday through Friday. Here from the beautiful Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the E Gallery in Dallas's fantastic design district. We are Radio Misfits, radiomisfits.com. Once more, I'd like to appropriately and honestly, sincerely, thank you for allowing me to do this. Please remember, tip the show if you can. We're desperate. Help us out if you can. That'd be great. Become tomorrow's executive producer, the big tipper of today's show. And we probably have had none. I don't know. I haven't checked it. But if there is a tipper, good chance the only person who tips is going to be tomorrow's executive producer because that's how this show runs. All right. Anything else? I think that's it. All right. Love you guys. We'll talk. Peace out. Really got to come up with a better way to end this show.